name is Barbara McCarthy, and I'm the Director of Engineering with a company called HubSpot. And I'm here today to talk to you about engineering a culture for the future generation. So the future generation is Generation Z. It's the generation that comes after millennials. And I want to talk to you about what appeals to them and how they're actually different. So first of all, if we think about culture in general, what is it? It's actually a shared belief system. And the way we think about it in HubSpot is we think that culture is to recruitment as product is to marketing. So what I mean by that is customers are always going to be more easily attracted to a brilliant product, but also talented people are always going to be more easily attracted by a great culture. And at HubSpot, we take our culture pretty seriously, to be honest, in a good way. And we've won lots and lots of awards for culture and the positive culture within the company. And the reason we put so much effort into it, and we believe it's so important, is because we think that if you've got happy and engaged employees, they're going to be way more productive. And if you've got lots and lots of happy, productive employees, it's going to make your company way, way, way more successful. So, back to the generational thing. Does anybody here feel as if in the last couple of years, you can't walk two steps without somebody talking about millennials, right? And I'm sure there's half of the audience, if not more, millennials here today. But the interesting thing about millennials is that we didn't really know a huge amount about them. So their personas, their stories, their characteristics, we didn't know a huge amount about them before they entered the workforce. But what if I told you that actually Generation Z is going to be even more important than millennials, and we've talked a lot about millennials the last few years. The reason being is it is a huge generation. So it's way bigger than millennials, it's way bigger than baby boomers or previous generations. And it's estimated that by 2020, in the US, 40% of all consumers will be from Generation Z. So this is a huge, huge generation. And we do already know an awful lot more about them than we did millennials when they entered the workforce. So it's time to start building companies and cultures within companies that they want to work for right now. So what else do we know about them? We know that they have a huge interest and aspiration to work in the technology industry, which is fantastic, because we know there's a huge amount of opportunity within the technology industry. But we also know that as they kind of mature and they graduate, and again, the oldest is about 23, so they're starting to enter the workforce now. We're seeing them now. As they come into the workforce in their droves over the next 10 years, we know that the competition amongst companies will increase and increase and increase for these amazingly talented individuals. So unlike their predecessors as well, the traditional career values don't really resonate with them. They're a different type of generation. They're fiery, they're determined, they want to pursue their passions, they want to chart their own career paths. So how can we successfully, as companies, attract this new generation in? So let's first take a look about what we do know about them already before they enter the workforce, or as they're starting to enter the workforce. We know that they're the first real, truly digitally native generation. So they've never known a world where the internet wasn't a thing. They've never known a world where information wasn't at their fingertips 24/7. And you can see the statistic here that roughly 40% of them are connected to the internet for more than 10 hours a day. So they're used to information and content on demand at their fingertips all the time. And that perception and that reality for them is going to follow them into the workplace. And this company, Text Recruit, right, nothing got to do with HubSpot, but I just thought it was really interesting. This is a company that's kind of leaning into the fact that they're so used to information at their fingertips. And they have developed, right, this new generation have developed, research tells us, an average of an 8-second a gauge, a filter, an 8-second filter to determine whether it's something worth engaging with or not. So it's not the same as an attention span, it's just a filter. average 8 seconds to determine whether something is interesting or not. And this company, Text Recruit, they actually use text messaging and artificial intelligence to recruit these newer, younger candidates, better, I won't say better candidates, but they have a better method that appeals to them because it's quicker. And one thing that we've learned at HubSpot is that we used to do a lot of, I suppose, more traditional classroom-based learning, and that doesn't appeal at all. Okay, so if you think about it, right, and you want to learn how to change the tire on your car, or you want to learn how to go for those amazing GHD curls, or you want to learn how to code, you actually go to YouTube. That's where you go to. And this generation is going to be the exact same. So we have created a DIY kind of on-demand learning environment where they can learn at their speed anytime they like from anywhere in the world. And this is the type of learning that appeals to them. So another thing we know about them is diversity is absolutely so important to them. And we talk about diversity a lot in the technology industry, but it's estimated that by 2020, 50% of all kids in the US will come from an ethnic or minority group. So diversity in the traditional sense of the word is actually going to become the norm. Okay? So that means that they really, really, really value the diversity, belonging, inclusion within companies, and they want to see that companies actually value it as much as they do. And it can't be like a side thing. It has to be part of the operating system or the DNA of the company. So whether it's events or whether it's, you know, employee resource groups or whatever, companies have to show that it is as important to them as it is to the candidates that they're trying to recruit. We know that they're very entrepreneurial, so 72% of the second level students say that they want to start their own business, and 61% of the college students would prefer to be entrepreneurs, excuse me, rather than employees. So how should we think about that from a company perspective as employers? We should lean into that and actually encourage it, embrace it, give them the autonomy and challenge to think like a CEO. In HubSpot and engineering, we do something a little bit different as well in terms of sort of embracing that thought process of acting and thinking like CEO. So we don't tell the engineers what they should work on. Instead, we have a set of engineering principles, which again is a shared belief system. And then the engineers determine what they work on at a low level and actually how they're going to work on it, how they're going to problem solve. And the outcome is they take responsibility and ownership like nothing I've ever seen, because they own the problem definition, they own the requirements, the solution, and actually how they work. So they really, really take ownership and feel, I suppose, passion about the work that they're doing. So this brings me on to the next point. This new generation are very much guided by passion. So this is a picture I'm sure a lot of you will recognize her. Her name is Greta Thunberg. She's 16 years of age. She is Generation Z, and she started a climate strike. This is a picture of her outside the Swedish Parliament, and this is her passion. This is how she brings her passion, and she started essentially I would call a global movement among students around climate. So this is what motivates her, and we have to allow the next generation to bring those passions into work, because we know that if somebody is allowed to be motivated by passion, they're going to have a huge sense of pride in what they do. And we know that in order to generate pride, you have to have a higher organizational purpose. And when I say that to some people, they kind of go, oh, you mean the mission statement? And it's actually not what I mean. So this is HubSpot's mission statement: help millions of organizations to grow better, which is great. It's a fine mission statement. But actually, more so, it's writing down or codifying your culture. So it's how we treat each other, how we treat our customers, how we deal with failure, all the things that are important to you and what you stand for as a company. You should write them down. The other thing is they're going to value professional and personal development a lot more. So with the rising rates of anxiety and depression amongst youth of today, and we heard a lot about it yesterday in terms of mental health, companies need to be able to support their employees on their, not just their physical, but their mental well-being as well. And this is going to be really, really critical for this next generation. Companies need to talk about mental health more openly. So this is a determined, fiery, dedicated generation. They're going to outnumber all the previous generations. They're going to be really dedicated to hard work and their careers. But we need to remember that 60% of the jobs in 2034, they don't even exist yet. So the way we think about recruitment and building effective teams, all that has to change. And it has to change with this next generation, Generation Z.